and I couldn't give a shit, like, because life's too short to spend it worrying about people you don't even know, like, what they think about you. I want to look back and be proud Poppy. I don't want to be shitty Poppy. I've had someone message me before saying, I know you're not an emergency nurse anymore, but I want to let you know that you've saved my life. Hi, I'm Tara McKeon, the founder of Proud Poppy Clothing, and in this episode of Add to Cart, I share the highs and lows of business, the lessons that I've learnt, and the exciting future for Proud Poppy.
Hey, it's Nathan Bush, or Bushy, joining you from the land of the Turrbal people here in Brisbane, Australia.
What happens when you are staring down the barrel of voluntary administration? You have a warehouse that's 5 times too big for what you need. You have no stock on the ground and your international orders have just been cut off. You fly to China to fix the problem. That's the incredible story that we are hearing today. Tara McKeon is one of Australia's most compelling modern e-commerce founders. She's built Proud Poppy from a maternity leave side hustle while working as an emergency room nurse and built it into a $20 million fashion brand, which is redefining size inclusivity for women and giving them lots of confidence while they're at it. In this episode, Tara is incredibly honest about the wins and the hard parts of building this size business, scaling fast, nearly stalling when profitability lagged revenue, and the uncomfortable humility that's required when asking for help. She shares how community-led growth, loyalty mechanics, real customer storytelling, and disciplined operational changes helped Proud Poppy stabilize and refocus on quality over pure scale. It's an incredible story, and Tara is an incredible breath of fresh air. And I think everyone will get something out of this, especially if you're looking to activate your loyal followers. As always, thank you to Shopify and Klaviyo for sponsoring Add to Cart and bringing these stories to the e-commerce community. Here's our conversation with Tara McKeon, founder of Proud Poppy. Tara, welcome to Add to Cart.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So good to have you here. I work with someone who dresses in your clothes every day and is one of your Proud Poppy just evangelists. And she is going to be super jealous that I'm having this
I
conversation
love
with
her.
you.
I love that.
Shout out to Sarah.
Hi,
We
Sarah.
actually went to New York together last year and it was freezing cold. It was like 3 degrees.
New York cold, yeah.
Yeah, New York cold. And all she packed was Proud Poppy dresses. And I'm
Bless
like,
her.
you're going to need like something warmer. She's like, nah, I'll go over it and I'll go under it.
Yeah, well,
and
she
I'll just make it
knows.
work. Yeah.
Queen knows. Keep your core warm and layer with the pieces on top.
Yeah, you've got some evangelists out there. They love you.
Oh, I love them.
Tell me how you built this business. So you are the first emergency nurse that we've had.
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Built an e-commerce business. Where did Proud Poppy come from?
Proud Poppy, it really started, I've always been a doer. I've always been busy. I've always been someone who's had to have a job. Like I've never not had to have a job, which, I'm grateful for. At the time when I was younger, I probably wasn't so grateful. And I was a bit of have that victim mentality, like why me when everyone else is living this cushy life. But now that I'm a little bit older and wiser, I'm really grateful for the hustle, the drive and the work ethic it's given me. And I think you would know, being an entrepreneur and especially in e-commerce, like you need that in your core to be able to survive in this industry. It never ends. But Proud Poppy came from, I was on my maternity leave from nursing and I already knew that I didn't want to go back, but I still wanted to help people. I wanted to be more creative. I really, emergency nursing was amazing, but it was also very traumatic. There was a lot of stuff that I dealt with that I'm still probably dealing with. I was assaulted when I was pregnant. I went to court, all yucky stuff. And then I had a child and, I've lost that adrenaline. It's not, and this, if there's any nurses out there or cops or whatever, you'll get it, that adrenaline of what's going to happen today. It was more what's going to happen today. So the tone had really changed and I just didn't really want to go back to that environment having a child at home, because it wasn't just my life that I was really thinking about anymore. And I just started thinking about things that I could do to be more creative. And I'd always loved fashion, always loved fashion. So I was thinking about, being a travel blogger, and I'm like, but I don't travel enough. Like, what can I do? And then I was
Especially
like,
with a newborn, probably not the best time to be a travel blogger.
right, right. But, I'd always loved fashion. And there is a big story about, me watching women going in and out of a boutique and sitting across the road as a plus size person at that point in time, like a size 22, 24, watching people going in and out of this little clothing boutique and coming out with bags, but I couldn't shop there. It was the local store. I couldn't shop there. I'd say to my husband, oh, I wish I could shop there. He was like, one day. And then I lost weight, got down to like a size 18. I was like, one day, I'm going to go have a look in that shop. So I went in the shop and I got one dress. There was one dress that fit me and I bloody bought it. And it was shit and awful and just a big sack. But I was just so happy that I could finally come out with the little bag. But then I got home and
Yeah.
I put it on and I was like, why is this such a big deal? Like, I've seen people go in and out of that shop for so long. And why could I only find one dress as a size 18? I'm not even a 22, 24 anymore. Like, only one dress. And it wasn't even because I loved it. It was because that was the only piece. And then I got a bit frustrated because, it wasn't just that shop. It was the industry as a whole. And there was so many other women just like me. I knew it. And I got really frustrated. And I said to my husband, I think I could do a really good job of this. I'm super passionate about it. Like, I've still got all my dresses from when I was 18, 19, 20. Like, I love dresses. I love fashion. And I just started from a tub of clothes. And, a few years later, that actual physical store is now a Proud Poppy shop, which is something I'm really proud of.
So the one you sat outside of is
Yeah.
now a Proud Poppy shop.
Yeah, full circle.
That's
So
phenomenal.
now fully inclusive, size 6 to 30. We're actually taking the shop next door, which is bigger now. But, a few years later, we turned the key and we turned it into a Proud Poppy. And, so I guess where it came from was out of frustration, I suppose, but out of that real drive to want to make the industry better for
Yeah.
women like myself. I think coming from nursing as well, like I've seen and treated all sorts of people, and as women, we all want to look good, feel good, even on our worst days. So being able to have that really inclusive space beyond sizing, like just where everybody is welcome.
That's really interesting to me because as I look through your site and your socials, it's not necessarily about size, right? And I've heard
No.
you say this before. It's
Yeah.
about we sell confidence.
Yeah.
How do you position Proud Poppy market? Because you've got a very distinctive design as well. Like if I think about, you can spot a Proud Poppy dress and you go, that's Proud Poppy. Like, how do you describe your style and what you go to market with without being lumped into, oh, that's a plus size fashion brand?
Yeah, to be fair, we totally get that. I have there's no shame in that for me, but my vision is, and like a lot of brands don't want to be associated with the plus size market. That's the whole issue. It's not their brand. They don't want plus size people in their clothes, and it is what it is. Do I agree with it? No. Is it my brand? No. So that's why we decided to create something fully inclusive. We definitely just get put in that's a plus size brand market. So like, but I do think the more standard, smaller sizes, they have more options available. Plus size market doesn't have options available. So when you're looking at who do cater for the plus size market, there's only a few brands out there. So Proud Poppy, of course, comes to mind, and I'm so grateful for that. But it is about being fully inclusive. Like, I've been a size 10, I've been a size 24. And what I noticed was like, my fashion sense and how I show up had to change depending on my size, because it changed what stores and what brands and what designers or whatever were catering for my body shape. So as my body shape changed, went up, went down, and it happens for all sorts of reasons. People with cancer lose weight, like bicycle, you might
Yeah.
go on a health kick. Your identity has to change. There's no real brand that's consistent throughout. So Proud Poppy is a store for all people, for all stages of their life. Once they find their brand, they love it, their style, we provide options, and, we want to be able to look after everyone, no matter their size, their shape, their budget, all of those things.
I hadn't thought about it that way before. And I think that's an incredible framing because often your style is an expression of your personality. And
Totally.
if you are changing body sizes, body shapes as you go through different stages in life, your personality doesn't change, but being forced to change
Yeah.
your outward personality, that's
Yeah.
a big shift.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. And like, I started chatting to some of my size 6 girlfriends, and they were like shopping in the children's section because there wasn't anything like, that was a little bit more mature that fit their body shape. So, people didn't make dresses like Proud Poppy dresses in those smaller sizes. So it was really important for me to be able to have one store that people could shop. A size 26 and a size 6 best friends could go in and shop together. There wasn't one person sitting there holding the bags and then they're going to the next store. They're having an equal experience, and the same online, obviously, as well. But we do have that physical store aspect too. But just to be able to create that equal experience and share the joy.
Yeah. And from a brand perspective, there's obviously design principles around your style, right? Like I said, you can pick a Proud Poppy dress. It's, from my perspective, it's bright, it's colorful, it's probably loud's the wrong word, but it isn't, it's
Loud and
definitely not,
proud, baby.
it's not shrinking.
No. To be fair, like we have, they're our standouts because I think they stand out in the market as well. But we do offer a lot of neutrals, blacks, plain colors. Like they are there, but they kind of get lost
Yeah, they're not your
because
heroes.
the hero prints, the bold and the bright stand out because they've got a point of difference. But there's always time for, every girl needs a little black dress. So we have
Yep.
plenty of those, black jumpsuits, pants, chocolates. I'm into chocolate at the minute, which is weird for me, but I'm loving it. Not just in my belly, on my body.
Hey, it's just going past Christmas, we all are.
But yeah, like we do try and have options. I think the big thing is options.
Yeah, great. So let's talk around where Proud Poppy is at the moment. I've seen that you're 5 years into the business, 5 or 6 years into the
6.
business.
Yeah,
6
just
now.
on 6.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Doing $20 million approximately from what I can see publicly. Like you said, you've got stores now, started online, now have stores. I know that last year you referenced last year being a really tough year for you, despite shit. All right, let's call it what it is. Let's call it a shit year. And I don't think you're alone there.
I know I'm not. Yeah.
Despite growing the team, acquiring new customers, have a thriving community, it all looks great on the outside. What was so shit about it?
I think and this isn't the first time that I've done this. So, we finished 2024 pretty strong and we were ready for growth. So we were seeing a lot of traction in international markets, and that was a bit of a plan because we are quite a summery brand. So I started the brand in Melbourne. So Melbourne winters are brutal, but like that's where most of our market sits, in Melbourne, Victoria, New South Wales, the southern states. So we really were trying to push into the international markets, not just to see that growth, but more so to combat that seasonality. And there's not really anything out there that ticks all the boxes like Proud Poppy does. Like they might have certain things, but they don't have the community aspect, or they might have the same styles, but they're not size inclusive, or vice versa. So it seemed like a really natural progression, and we were seeing a lot of traction there. So we were gearing up to have a massive year for 2025.
And when you talk about expansion, we focus on the US?
Yeah, predominantly the US. Like it seems like at the time it was the next step, natural progression, the level of growth that was going to be available there. It just made sense. But then, yes, when did the tariffs come to town? Was it March, May?
May, June, yeah, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So no one really could have predicted we just moved into a massive, like an 1,800 square warehouse that we could easily do 100 million in revenue out of and beyond. And so the plan was to do it all here. I didn't have an interest in a 3PL. So we'd signed this lease. We've moved like ready to scale. And then all of a sudden the brakes were put on, and we weren't prepared. We just opened all these stores. So that was another thing. And then it obviously hurt cash flow because the sales that we were on track to getting just didn't come. And then Ozpost stopped sending. It was just a snowball effect. And then we pulled all our advertising out. Like we were getting a lot of return to senders because we didn't have the right tariff codes. And so it was just a bit of a nightmare. And I guess just one thing after another, and then staying on that projected revenue that hurt the business. So I think we are very lucky that we do have our incredible community, and that I always move forward with that transparency, honesty, and sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, not just of business, but my life. So our community really carried us. And I think if we didn't have that, we probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So we're very, very lucky and super grateful.
What did you change in the second half of the year to turn it around?
To be honest, we had sat down with people to chat about well, what is voluntary administration? I don't know. I'm a nurse. Like, what does that look like? What does that
Wow.
mean? We'd always had a small level of debt, like as a growing business, like it's okay to have some level of debt, but it was manageable. And we always had stock, like enough stock that if we were to 50% clearance, so it was always balanced. So the debt was still sitting in stock and we we're keeping things moving. But then our supplier payments, like we'd over ordered and just the cash flow, the overheads, just everything snowballed. Overheads went high, revenue dropped, and supply chain suffered. So we had no stock. So I think at one
Mm.
point we were down to 1 or 2 weeks cover across online
Whoa.
and stores, which is dire straits.
Yeah.
So it was like we had all these stores and they were empty pretty much. It was just really, really hard. So we had the sit down discussion with people to say, like, what does that look like? Our house is tied into the business. Are we going to lose our family home? All those sorts of things. Like, what does this mean? And then I went back home that night with my husband. We went and had a wine first and we're like, oh. And I said to him, I'm not doing this. Like, the brand is strong. We just don't have stock. That's it. We don't have
Yeah.
stock. We've made some bad decisions, but a lot of it was out of our hands. So I said to him, I'm going to China. And he said, okay, when do you want to go? I'm like, I'm going to go tomorrow. And we've got 2 young kids. So that was like, okay, right, I've got this. And I headed over to China by myself, met all of our suppliers, gave them all the logins, again, transparent, nothing to hide. Like if they're going to be partners and support us with stock, like I wanted them to see like the brand was strong, the demand was there. We just didn't have the stock. So I needed them to believe us and trust us.
How did you know which suppliers to go to?
I have pretty genuine relationships with most of our suppliers. I think it's really important. Like I've always been like this, like business is very much based on relationships and having that quality, that honesty, that transparency. Like if you are wanting someone to back you with their money and their business, like it's in your favor to be honest and transparent because then they can assess the risk. They know me as a person, so they know that I'm a good person that's probably just made some poor decisions, but they also know that I work really damn hard and I'm not
Yeah.
a quitter.
So you went over there and just opened up the books to them.
Pitched. I was like, I just need the stock and I will make it worth your while. And, I'll be loyal to you. Like, it's not like I'm going to then move, but if you help me now when we grow, which we will grow and we are growing, like you will have the business and it will be worth your while. So yeah, and we got it over the line.
And what changed in those meetings? Was it that they suddenly, took you a bit more seriously? They saw it was a safer bet?
Well, I think that the fact that I got on a plane and went over to China by myself and met with them and they're like in the reception area, like, who else are we waiting for? I was like, just me.
Hey,
And they're
let's
like,
go.
okay. And they're like, people don't do that. People don't make that effort. And I was like, well, this is really important to me. So I want you to know that I am taking it seriously. I know how big a deal, like I know what I'm asking you to do and the risk. So I want to be able to have that sit down face-to-face discussion with you because it's make or break for my brand, but it also could be really beneficial for their business too. So yeah, we were just able to negotiate and chat about things and we got it over the line and now we have a warehouse full of stock. We're making sales, we're making profit and we just hustled and got it done.
How long after that trip to China did it take for you to feel stable again in your business? I mean, that's a big shift going to talking about voluntary administration to jumping on a plane to China. How long until you went, I'm actually all right?
Do you know what? Like the voluntary administration, like even lawyers and potential investors were on the table and it really is the easy way out, I think. Like as if you don't have that ego of like, oh, what's everyone going to say about me? Like I don't give a shit what people say about me and I think we should talk about it more often because, I think opening these conversations and having these chats, I know there'll be someone listening to this that will resonate that hasn't felt like they could tell anyone and that eats you up and that's the most awful feeling, especially if you're a good person that doesn't want to owe people money and things. But there was that opportunity to basically wipe debts, like, pay cents to the dollar, restructure, like do it obviously legally, all those sorts of things. But my line was, I want to look back and be proud, Poppy. I don't want to be shitty, Poppy. But and that was what
Yeah.
I said. I said, I don't want to do that. Like it's easier in a way, but you've just got to work and keep working and never give up and back yourself and hustle.
And you mentioned there that your community played a huge role in helping you through that time. What was the way that you leaned on your customers and your community the most?
I think I just told them what our sales targets were. We need to hit this X amount. And by doing that, I'm not going to go buy myself a Lamborghini. We're going to pay our rent. We're going to do this. We're going to be able to invest in new collections. And I was just really transparent about it. And honestly, my personal Instagram DMs lit up with so many other smaller businesses, some bigger businesses that shocked me that they ended in my DMs. But I was like, I'm here for you. But just people saying they'd either been through it, were currently going through it, or felt like they were about to go through it. And they just, even if they couldn't purchase, they were
Mm.
there and they could hear, they were with us, they supported us, sharing our content, engaging, So just again, being transparent. People know when you're bullshitting. So just be honest.
Is that hard? Because I felt like this Black Friday, especially, you would have seen plenty of commentary on it, that everyone was like, it was very either we're sorry emails or we fucked up emails or this is really important to us. We need this sale to work or we go bust. There was a lot of that out there and not all of it was genuine. Obviously,
Yeah.
yours has a story behind it. Was it hard when all that was happening at the same time? You genuinely had a message for your community?
I think with our community, they know that when I talk and when I tell a story, it's never just a marketing ploy, that they mean more to me. I'm super grateful for every dollar that they choose to spend with Proud Poppy. So I would never trick them into spending with us. I wanted them to think about if they wanted to spend with us. I didn't want them to put any pressure on
Mhm.
shopping with us. But just, again, engaging in the content, sharing the content, that sort of stuff, like it gets it out there. It helps us spend less on Meta and, there's all those sorts of things, but never putting pressure or making people feel guilty that they couldn't shop with us. But just if they wanted to have a look and shop, like their purchase was beyond more, it was going to have more of an effect on our business than just buying new cars or whatever. Like it was actually make or break for our business. So,
Is that
just getting
because your
personal.
community feels like Proud Poppy's part of them too? So as much as they don't want to see you suffer or Proud Poppy not go ahead, it's like actually like that's part of my identity as well.
Yeah, totally, totally. Like we have changed lives. I know we've changed lives. I've had husbands burst into tears when they've met me and just hug me and say thank you for what I've done for their wife. And I've had someone message me before saying, I know you're not an emergency nurse anymore, but I want to let you know that you've saved my life. So it's not just about the clothes. It's about that community connection, confidence, and just living your life and not giving a shit about what people think about you anymore. Like there was a time in my life where I wouldn't go to Woolworths because I was so nervous about bumping into somebody who might know me because of the way that I looked and how I felt. And I was just didn't want to go to Woolies. Now I will get down my undies on a live and I couldn't give a shit, like because life's too short to spend it worrying about people you don't even know, like what they think about you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So when it comes to community, what are the more formal ways? Obviously, you've got your Instagram where you are your own, let's call it personality to get out there and your own profile. But how do you formalize that as a business? So you've got a private Facebook group, is that right?
Yeah, yep. Proud Poppy VIP community. There's
Beautiful.
over 22,000 members in there, I think, at the minute, which is awesome.
Okay. And then you've got your loyalty program as well.
Yes, loyalty. That's about to have a bit of a revamp, which is super exciting.
Okay. With such a strong community and such a strong following, how do you divide your marketing efforts between retaining or engaging existing customers and fans versus going out to try and find new Proud Poppy customers?
I think it's always important to try and find new customers to keep tipping them into that funnel and growing the business because as you bring someone in, someone might drop off, but to be honest, like once someone finds Proud Poppy, they've got us. We've
Yeah.
got them and they've got us, It's literally like it's a friendship, it's a relationship. We have more return customers than what we do single purchases, which is really exciting
Awesome.
and something I'm really proud of too. So yeah, once they shop with us, they generally
The
repeat
magic
pretty
just
quickly.
happened.
Yeah, yeah. They know our products, they understand the quality. We give a really high level of customer service. So we don't really have to spend much on retaining customers. What we spend is that organic, authentic connection and relationship building, which just happens naturally.
Ever think that your phone is listening to you and kind of knows you better than anyone else? Well, that's the vibe that Arms of Eve is going for, but way less creepy. The Aussie jewellery brand started like many, sending emails and hoping for the best. Then they found Klaviyo. With hyper-personalised flows, smart send times, and Aussie-based segmentation, they boosted their open rates, built loyalty, and hit a 62 times ROI. As CEO Aaron Langer puts it, there's no one else out there that can do what Klaviyo does in such an easy, succinct, and powerful way. I can also confirm he's not spying on you through your phone. If you are ready to send emails that know your customer intimately, head on over to klaviyo.com/au and see how Arms of Eve scaled by knowing their customers.
How do you do that with your team as the business scales beyond you, right? So if you've got
Yeah.
customer service, marketing, maybe people who are looking after the community as
Mhm.
well. How do you kind of give them the Tara energy and the Tara vibes to make sure that it's one experience?
Yeah, to be fair, like that's something that we definitely struggled with last year as well, because we did relocate the office and warehouse from Melbourne to the Gold Coast. So there was a lot of new faces to the brand. There was people working remotely. Like it was a bit of a mess. And I think then me having to focus on driving sales, financial issues, like that took all my time and energy. We lost a bit of that. But this year I'm really trying to get that back, like have team onboarding sessions, spend more time onboarding new staff, like rather than just go for it. I believe in you. I'm really setting people up for success, one-on-ones with them. We just had a session yesterday with the team with our word for the year, our team goals, realigning on our values, making a team vision board for 2026, just so that like the vision is really clear and we always can circle back to our why and our values and then just have a bit more of a natural flow. But I think with like it's a founder led business. I started it from a tub of clothes in my hallway. Like it's now, close to 20 million. There's going to be things that I have to let go, but it's just about nurturing the staff so that they understand me and my why. But I can't possibly be everywhere all at once. But I think as well that comes down to hiring the right people as well.
Mm. Is there any tells that you look for when you're hiring? Because if you're having an interview with someone, how do you know they're a proud poppy person?
I think it's important to distinguish whether they're just like a super fan of the brand, of me, or, retail and e-commerce is hard. I think people underestimate how hard and how constant it is. It's literally 24/7. And a lot of people just see like the flexibility. And yes, there is a lot of that, but it is, it's a lot of work. You've got to be agile. You've got to be able to pivot. Like you can have your structure and, your skeleton, but you've got to be able to be somewhat reactive too for things that are happening. And people either thrive in that or they don't. I think probably my emergency nursing background has helped because I always plan for the worst and then knock out things as I go. And I can multitask and do those sorts of things. But I think, the big thing that we are looking at for any new hires, and it's something that I've probably learned lessons. I don't like to say made mistakes, but I've learned lessons on in the past is, the big CEOs and people that have come from massive corporate, huge brands. On paper, they are a great fit and they could be really great people, but we need builders and we need people who have that energy. They're hungry. They want to show me what they've got, like they're used to not working with massive budgets or they don't mind taking rubbish out. Like if no one's like, I'm the CEO, but I'll empty the bins, I'll clean the bathroom, there's no one's above anyone at Proud Poppy. And I think that sort of energy is something you can't teach. You can't make them have it. They've either got it or they don't. You need to have somewhat a level of understanding. But I think if you have that energy, initiative, passion, and hunger, we can teach a lot of the rest.
Yeah.
And, the only job I've ever been fired from was a women's clothing brand. So,
Showed them.
yeah, suckers. Um, no, but like as long as you have the right energy, like where you've come from and what you've done, e-commerce is constantly evolving. There's
Mm.
always something new, especially when you're throwing AI into the mix. Like you've just got to have that, be the right personality, and most things we can teach.
What's catching your eye in the new things in e-commerce at the moment? It doesn't necessarily have to be AI. It can if you want, but when you're thinking about that customer experience online, where's your head at?
I think that real, like making every experience more personal rather than just being able to open a website and what I see is what you see and vice versa, just being able to really personify that experience. So for women's fashion, it might be like, there's everywhere you look on TikTok at the minute. I don't know where your algorithm is, but mine's like, what color are you? What season are you? Like your color analysis. Like imagine if you could, and this is probably something that either exists or something we would love to invent, but being able to shop by your color, for example, and using that as a guide, because I also think wear whatever the hell you want. But if you're trying to step into fashion and find your confidence again, but you have no idea where to start, like that could be a great way to start, and or shop by your body shape if you want to, and like capsule wardrobes, just make it more personal.
Especially when you're selling confidence, I suppose. If you get confidence straight away as soon as you're on the site, that's a
Yeah, like beyond just filters of like shop by color, like shop by, what feature of yours do you love? Like upload a photo where you felt really incredible, like, and then we'll find pieces around that are similar to that, those sorts of things would be amazing. I don't know if they exist yet, but I feel like they're not far away.
Are you using any search merch or personalization tools at the moment?
Bits and bobs, to be honest, like after last year, if it was a nice to have, it got cut.
Cut. Yep.
And if it was a need to have it stayed, there's definitely lots of bright, shiny programs out there that I would love and my team would love. But we are pretty manual at the minute. We stripped things back to basics and core, but looking to rebuild again this year.
I mean, it's not a bad time to rebuild. If you had to stop and rebuild, I think 2026 is going to be pretty exciting because even the tools are so different. If
Yeah.
you kind of look at what they were this time last year,
Yeah.
what they're offering is a totally different experience.
It's constantly evolving. So I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. You've got to be able to pivot and take it or leave it, Not everything's going to be for you either.
One of the features that I loved on your website was the Model for Us initiative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us about how that came about and how that works?
So I feel like Proud Poppy really set the standard and was one of the very first brands to do this. But then, I've got a 3-year-old that wouldn't take a bottle. So I was a breastfeeding mama and we've had a move, we've had all those things. So my time was very poor, but we never really used to use professional models. We just used our community. And again, it was about having the everyday woman show up, and you didn't need to be a professional model to look good, feel good in our clothes. But then obviously with those people turning up to our shoots to model comes that lack of confidence and just, you're not a professional at it. So of course you're going to be nervous. So I felt really bad for me not being able to be at that shoot with them and to guide them and support them. So we scaled back, but we definitely want to bring that back again. I used to do a lot of the shoots myself to save money. Like basically we did 2 massive shoots with models, the whole shebang for the start because I had all the gear and no idea. And then I ran out of money. I had enough for a photographer and that was it. But I had a few items to shoot. So I jumped in front of the camera myself and I found that that's when things started to resonate. And, again, I was like, people just want to see people that look like them. And there's nothing wrong with professional models. I think it's important to use a mixture of both. But if people are wanting to shop with me and spend with me, I'd love them to be able to see themselves in our advertising as well. It's definitely something that we've dropped the ball on last year, just with everything that was going on. But this year, something that we want to pick up again.
Does that mean that you would always rule out AI models?
I think always ruling them out is a big statement, but I think, like we would love to work with more size 26, 28, 30 models. Agencies don't represent them. So when you go to book a plus size, like if you look on the Right Fit, which is a great website, but if you look models in Queensland, there's 700 and something models, female models on that website. It's not an agency. It's like it's like a talent site. But if you type in curvy, plus size, beyond size, there's 7.
Wow.
And I think you might have a size 20, 22.
Yeah.
So I think if you are going to utilize the AI feature, like we are actually shooting with a beautiful girl from Perth next week, the size 30 is coming across. And I was like, yes, Queen, I would love to have you as a model on a shoot. But again, I think women that don't see themselves think automatically we're trained to think, oh, that's not for me. But it is, you're just not represented. So I think if you are utilizing AI, it's really important to use that diversity and not just create your version of what the perfect woman or body shape looks like, and being able to be diverse. Of course, I'd love to use real people, but it's just, Chrislyn just coming over from Perth. I'd love to use it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. but it's still
Yeah,
tying into your mission. It's not going away from your
totally.
mission and your values.
Ever dreamed of turning a weekend passion into a thriving business? Girls with Gems did exactly that. What started as a mother-daughter duo hosting jewelry parties at home is now a bustling boutique and a booming online store. They've helped hundreds of women feel confident, stylish, and part of the sisterhood to become, as they like to say, one of the girls. And with Shopify, things are moving faster than ever. In 2024, their online sales revenue grew by a jaw-dropping 107%. But it's not just about the sales. Things feel smoother behind the scenes too. Efficiencies have soared. Huge sales events are now prepped and scheduled ahead of time, and integrated automations mean that VIP customers are spotted instantly, triggering exclusive offers without anyone lifting a finger. Just smart tools, stylish growth, and one sparkling success story. To read more case studies like this, visit Shopify Case Studies online.
I love the story that you had before around husbands coming up and saying how much you've changed and saved lives. With a community of, would you say, over 20,000 in your private VIP
Yeah,
group, I could imagine that you get thrown ideas left, right, and center around what they want to see at Proud
yes.
Poppy. Has there ever been any idea that's come from your community that's been a real game changer for you?
I think yes and no. Like there's always golden nuggets in there. I think I was saying to someone yesterday, we're really lucky with our community. Like we don't have to spend thousands of dollars on market research. If I'm not sure about this, I'll jump on a live and be like, do you like this? No, 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 no. I'm like, they hate it. Don't order it. Like, or vice versa. Yes, love, would love it in this style, would love it in that. So it gives you more insight and we definitely listen. Like there's good and there's bad in there too. Like obviously it's not all positive, but again, we try and be transparent with everything. But a lot of the things that they suggest or would like, they are happening in the background. So it's
Mm.
just not, they can't see it straight away. Things
Yeah.
take time, but we definitely look at their comments. My design team's in there all the time. Like they'll know what's going on in there before I do. Then they said, the ladies want this, the ladies want that. I'm like, great, let's do it.
That's an incredible resource. And I know you don't think of it as a resource, but it's an incredible resource to have there to be able to get that instantaneous feedback. A lot of people would pay tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to have
Yeah.
a focus group available to them on
Totally.
demand.
I think the important thing is, and I'm very clear with the team, that I'm very controlling, strict. I'm not sure what the right word is, but I'm very conscious of which team members are allowed access to the VIP to post, to approve comments, to do all those sorts of things. Currently, it's mostly my two sisters. So, and some of the customer care, but I'm very protective of that group. It's very much a no hard sales group. Like I might pop in there and say, hey, I've restocked this in case you missed the memo, but because I know that people would be waiting on it or it might be selling really fast and I don't want people to miss out, but it's never a hard sell group. It's very important to me that we don't lose that and it is still that authentic connection. If sales come from it, great, but it needs to be organic and never just turn into a marketing sales channel.
Yeah. When you've got a private community that's thriving and really strong and really vocal, is it hard for you when you see things outside of the community? So, for example, I was doing a little bit of research beforehand and Reddit pops up
Yeah.
a lot for you, a lot of threads, good, bad, indifferent. Is that hard when you go, actually, like if you just heard what these 20,000 people were talking about, none of this
To
is
be
that.
honest, it depends. Like I struggle with my mental health. So it really depends on where I'm sitting at I
Yeah.
will acknowledge today's not the day to go on the VIP page because I do take it to heart. We're not like a big board of, people making decisions. Like it is a founder led brand. Like all the pieces that we create are pieces that I would love. And if someone's telling me it's awful, like you take that
Yeah.
personally.
It's yours.
I'm like, I want that dress. I felt nice in that. But like not everything's going to be for everyone. When I think of Reddit and there was a thread that went up there recently in regards to our Black Friday, like all about our marketing for Black Friday. And we had Stephen Bradbury and they're like, oh, this is AI. I'm like, It's bloody not. It's actually Braddles. Like, he wanted to back us like that.
Really? So it was actually him because I saw the same thread and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, last man standing.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like 3 grand or something for a video, and then after talking to us, he did it for nothing. So
Oh,
what a legend.
that's so good.
But yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I just know this was written by an LLM." I'm like, "I wrote that." Like, I don't know. So I wasn't going to respond, but then I also thought, well, these people are just really tarring us with this brush, and it's not true. Like, and and I think given all of the marketing things that were coming out from the other brands as sorries, we need this, like, we got thrown under that as well. But it's a small minority of opinions, and you just really have to focus on the positives. And when I said to the girls, like, we're not going to respond. And then a few days later, I was like, I got on Reddit. And they're like, oh, no.
Do you do it as you or do you do it as like
Oh,
anonymous puppy?
me. No,
Yeah.
me, for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, if they want to fight with me, then here I am.
Let's go.
But, like, let's have a discussion.
I could imagine that it would, like, you framed it perfectly. It's like it would depend on the day. Some days you'd look and go, I don't give a fuck. Like, we've got all these people over here who love us. And then
Yeah.
some days you're like, oh, that one comment, that one little thing, I can't let that go.
Especially if you've worked really hard at something, like, and I just think as well, online is a whole different world, but like, choose kindness, and
Yeah.
not everything's going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to like me. I don't like everyone, but that's okay. I'm not going to go out and try and ruin their day. Like, a lot of businesses I wouldn't shop at, but I'm just going to keep scrolling, so it's
You'll
just
just buy
about,
their shop fronts a few years later.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's just about being kind, but also holding people accountable too.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of your sales that you just brought up, one of the questions that I had for you, I was looking through your site over your Boxing Day sales, and I noticed that you had 25% off store wide, but it wasn't automatically applied, that you needed to use
Yes.
the coupon code.
Yeah.
Tell me about that decision and the reasoning behind it, and did it work?
So we were actually chatting about this yesterday, but like, we do like to test a lot of things at Proud Poppy. So we like to see, we've just done Black Friday where there was no code, and then Boxing Day, we wanted to try a code. So a lot of our customers, and I think Boxing Day shoppers are an older demographic as well.
Mhm.
So I think if you're a little bit younger, a little bit more tech savvy, you're all across Black Friday. What that means, you're knowing the sales are going to start earlier, but Boxing Day is a very traditional sale. So we found that our customers liked to be able to put the code in and to be able to see, oh, now that's what the price is.
Yes.
And it was just as successful, if not more, for us than Black Friday, which was a surprise.
Did you still capture some full margin sales as well that didn't have code?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But, we ended December just as strong as November. So like, the test, I guess, worked, but it was just interesting to see. It was a gamble. Boxing Day hasn't really hit for us for the last few years, but this year it hit. So, it was worth a try. And I think it just separated it from just another sale. It was like, this is Boxing Day.
I thought it was going to be to do something around, you had very targeted marketing going out there, and you didn't want to lose the full margin sales from people who weren't being acquired for the first time through your marketing.
We're not that strategic. I wish we were. That would have been
Sales are
very
sales.
clever.
If December looks good, then December looks good. No one's complaining.
Yeah, and I guess, like, when it comes down to manpower and not being able to, like, double up on discount codes and loyalty programs and all those sorts of things, like, it's easier for the team. Like, at that time of year, everyone's a bit burnt out anyway. So it's about keeping things simple for the team too, not just the community and the shoppers.
Lovely. Tara, next 12 months. So we've talked, you've been so open and so transparent around the incredible business and community that you've built with Proud Poppy. What's exciting you for the next 12 months? Where's your priorities?
Priorities. So my word for 2026. Do you have a word?
No, I don't.
Okay. You need to think of your word. Rather than a
Sure.
resolution, we think of a word. So I know all the team's word, we're putting it in frames. Every decision, everything that you do comes back to your word rather than a resolution. It's like a value, but in one word. So my word for 2026 is clarity. So I want to be really clear on what I want from my business. I want to be really clear on what sparks joy and where I want to focus my attention. And I want my team to be really clear on what the goalposts are. I think it's really important to have that, even though you're constantly chasing growth and what's next, but like, what does success mean to us and what will that look like in 12 months time? So really having those so that we can celebrate the wins. and you feel like you've reached that finish line rather than just a constant never-ending marathon. But I think just being really clear on intentions, our values, why, and what's important for me in 2026 rather than trying to do it all.
Yeah.
And just being stretched too thin. So I'm super excited about that. The team is all very much on board, implementing structures and systems, but not being tied down by red tape, and just getting back out there to the community, honestly. Like, we're just about to book in a pop-up shop in Adelaide. They do really well for us. They're a great community event. And last year I'd hardly got to go to any. This year my intention is to go to them all. So, and just spend time back in the community, because it is really cup filling and it reminds you why we do what we do and why we work so hard.
Incredible. Well, if you leave the year feeling that you've given to the community and that you're getting that back as well, I can imagine that that would be a hugely successful year.
Yeah, I hope so. It'll be successful for my soul, if not
Yeah.
anything else.
Sounds like after last year and your emergency trips to China, you might need a successful for the soul year.
I feel like I've earned it. It's my time. Yeah.
After all, you didn't leave ED to kind of be faced with these kind of emergencies, did you?
No.
Tara, thank you so much for sharing your story on Add to Cart. Loved hearing it, loved meeting you. And the approach that you've got, and there's a certain calmness that you've got, even when you're recapping last year. I'm sure it wasn't always calm, but the way that you're able to put it into perspective and keep customer and community at the forefront is so refreshing. And I loved hearing it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been great having a little old yap with you.
What an incredible story that is. I love that chat with Tara. She is so refreshingly honest, and I think sometimes to the point where the story sounds worse than what it is because she is so honest. I think if we all judged in terms of the true story behind what happens in e-commerce, there'd be more people that looks like Tara's experience than the bright, flashy, smooth ride that we often see in e-commerce, or hear about in e-commerce at least. All right, as always, here are the 3 most important lessons that I think you can pull out of this and apply into your e-commerce business. Number 1, treat supplier trust as working capital. If you are treating your suppliers, especially your manufacturers, if you're in the fashion industry or any industry, but especially fashion, if you are just treating them as transactional, you are probably leaving yourself exposed. Tara's example of the power when you actually show up and you are very transparent around the relationship and what that relationship means for your business and how you can help the other party with their business showed the huge power of that relationship. If you are just treating as transactional, you are leaving a huge risk in your business. So work with your suppliers. If you haven't touched base with them for a while, work with your suppliers and your manufacturers to make sure that you're sharing forecasts and sell-through data, to make sure you're on the same page and that you're both set up to scale together. Be transparent early when demand shifts and ask for support before you might miss any payments or deadlines. I think having that open relationship is something that actually saved Tara's business here. Number 2, keep community spaces non-transactional. Tara has developed such an amazing community and huge trust in this community. We didn't quite get the secret sauce around what made that community so passionate. I think we can read between the lines there. But what we did get was how to maintain that community and keep their trust. One of the things that Tara said that really caught my attention was we're not in there to sell, especially that VIP group. And she's very protective around who gets access to talk to her audience. So if you do have a VIP group, especially one that's very committed and very enthusiastic about your product, make sure you protect it at all costs. Make sure you separate community engagement from promotional calendars. The two don't have to be linked. You can limit who can post and approve content, and use community for feedback, support, belonging, maybe sneak peeks, maybe behind the scenes, but it's not for sales. And lastly, her point around hiring builders, not big brand resumes, is something that I bet a lot of founders can relate to. And it's not that people from big brands can't bring the experience that you sometimes need in your business. It's knowing what you need in that moment. I once heard a saying is that there is a lifespan on employees and team members as your business grows. The team members that you need in 3 years' time won't be the same team members you need today necessarily. You need to hire for what you need now. So if you're still in the building, scaling, a little bit gritty, a little bit down and dirty stage, you probably do need builders. As you need to find those 1% and you need to scale to areas that you've never gone to before, you probably need the big brand builders. So knowing what you need and hiring for adaptability and what you need right now is so important. Tara sounds like she's learnt the lessons and knows exactly who she needs in her business to make Proud Poppy grow and to achieve the vision that she's after. That's it for this week. As always, if you want to come in and discuss this week's episode, make sure you join the Add to Cart community. Head on over to addtocart.com.au to join the community for free, where you can interact with over 600 e-commerce professionals, ask questions, answer questions, throw up some random ideas, see what comes back at you. It's a great place to share and to learn. As always, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and we'll continue to bring you new e-commerce stories, learning, and expertise every week for free. See you next time.